Hi, I'm Chad. This is Larry, and you're watching Square Body Stuff. Which one of these things is not like the other? Larry is our 2019 Ram. Well, I'm going to do a video about him today. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. You know, like me, I'm sure there's a lot of you that have the square bodies that you have other vehicles. So I'm going to do some work on this truck. I hope you guys stick around, see what I do with this thing. It's going to be a pretty interesting video. I'm going to try to keep it nice and simple and informative. Now, I've been debating on whether or not to even do this video on this truck because it's not a square body. Yeah, you're going to have to ignore the Blue Jays, I think it is. There's one over here, and then there's one back there. They're arguing or something. Maybe a husband and wife thing, and they're arguing. Who knows? But anyways, so I couldn't make up my mind if I was going to do the video or not. I just don't know. Operations manager, aka Mrs. Squarebody, made the decision for me. She goes, just do the video and put it on the channel. What's the worst that can happen? So what we're going to do with this truck is I'm going to be putting on a straight pipe kit to get rid of the mid muffler, I think they call it. It's a big, huge honking thing. I'll show you that here in a little bit. But I had to start out early this morning, do a cold start, and then travel to Mexico, make a couple test trips with the exhaust the way it is, so you guys have a fair assessment, as much as my camera audio will allow. So now you're gonna get to go for a ride, listen to the stock exhaust. We'll get him in the shop and we'll switch everything out and take for another trip, see if it's any louder. So as you can notice, this thing is fairly quiet inside. I'm not sure how the audio on my camera is picking it up, but the factory exhaust is quiet, but you do have a little bit of the rumble. It's noticeable, pleasant, I guess you could say. And even when you get on it, I mean, you can tell you got a V8. I got the camera up here closer to my head, so maybe the different angle will sound different. So now we're gonna take off, do like a 0 to 60 pull. Traction control is on. I'm not just gonna stomp it. I'm just gonna get into it just enough where it just barely maybe breaks the back tires loose, but that way you guys get an idea of what the sound is like inside the cab with the stock exhaust. It's not bad, but I think we could do better. Now my worries are that this exhaust may be too loud inside. We don't want that. We don't want a drone. We don't want you know, any real resonance inside the cab. So we'll just see how it turns out. I do have a backup plan. If it is too drony, I could either, I don't know if drony is a word, but it is now. Look it up in the Square Body Stuff dictionary. But we'll, I've got a straight through 3-inch muffler, and I could also just put the factory exhaust back on because we are getting ready to go on a long trip to Texas, and just to spend some time down there with friends and just see some stuff. So we don't want a long vehicle ride with the drone. So I'll put the straight pipe on there and see what it sounds like. So what we have here is a proven ground stainless steel muffler delete kit for the 2019 to 2022 1500 Rams with the 5.7 Hemi. Now, I purchased this kit. There's nothing sponsored, no gifts or nothing like that. I purchased this kit online through American Trucks. I'll put a link to the description box below. This kit was like $160. It's one of the cheaper kits that I could find that had, that was obviously stainless steel, had all the clamps, hardware for your flange, and even a new flange gasket. There are some kits that this is all one piece. They're a lot higher. I like the idea of having the two-piece setup because if I don't like the straight pipe and I need to put a muffler in it, all I have to do is take out this section, obviously mark where I'm going to put the muffler, take out this section, and put the muffler in place of this, in this section here. Then I can remove it from the truck once I get it where I want it and weld it up outside the truck instead of trying to do any welding in the truck. But first I'm going to see how I like it with just a straight pipe, as long as it's not too droney inside the cab. But if not, I do have a straight through 3-inch stainless muffler that we may put on this if we don't like the sound of it. The muffler I got is a Flow Monster from Summit Racing. Again, don't have a huge budget, so I try to be budget friendly when I purchase stuff. This is one of the cheaper stainless steel straight through mufflers that they had, because it's just a straight through perforated core 3-inch. I think it was around $45, $50. It was pretty economical for a full stainless steel straight through exhaust. It is a full 3 inches all the way through. It doesn't neck down. So I think this will work great if we don't like the straight pipe. And if we just happen to just stay with the straight pipe, I might buy another one of these and put them on old Squeaky, see what he sounds like with some decent mufflers on them. Now the instructions are pretty thorough. Got good pictures and everything. Gives you a tool list of what you're going to need. They did miss one. It's supposed to have a 13, 15, 16 millimeter sockets or wrenches, but they're the nuts on their hardware is actually 17 millimeter. So you'll need a 17 millimeter if you reuse these bolts. Now I'm not going to go by their total instructions unless I have to, because they have you pulling out most of the exhaust and doing all the cutting outside the truck. I think I'll be able to reach in there and cut the existing muffler out without removing any of the tailpipe. After I turn some fans on, because it is hot in here. Roof is 131 degrees already. Floor's only 83. We're good. Just in case you're not familiar with how the factory exhaust is run, it's got the two pipes coming down from your manifolds with the catalytic converters in each one of those. It wise right there. Got the first flange, a resonator, which I believe is just kind of like a glorified glass pack. I'm not sure if it's got any baffles in it. And then you got this flange, which I've already got my PB blaster on there trying to soak those bolts so they don't, if they do break off, they'll break off into the part that I'm taking off. So no big deal there. That'd be great. Then you got the muffler, the mid muffler, the big thing. That's what we're going to be replacing. Then you cruise on back here. It wise right up there. Then goes to your each side on the back, and each side right at the exit has another resonator. Those will be staying in place for right now. And yeah, that's the exhaust on this thing. First thing I'm gonna do is measure out and cut the pipe behind the muffler where we're gonna be cutting it off, and then I'll get these bolts broke loose. We'll have to get the mounts. They're kind of a pain, I guess, to get out of there, but we'll get it figured out. So the instructions say anywhere from 2 to 3 inches behind the muffler. I'm gonna go about 1.5 inches, 2 inches. I'd rather have to cut some extra off after I get the muffler out than not have enough pipe there. So I'm gonna get this thing cut out. Up here we've got a ground strap, and it just kind of it just unclips like that. We've got another rubber hanger here that I'm not going to worry about until we get these flange bolts let loose. But before I do that, I'm going to get something underneath this muffler. I think I'm going to use my transmission jack. It'll make it a whole lot easier. Did I mention it's hot? And since we're not worried about saving these bolts, I'm just going to use the big 1/2-inch impact. And actually that one came out. If I was wanting to save them, it would have broke. Both of them were saved. Yay! Not that it really matters, because like I said, we got new hardware. Now I just got to get the other rubber grommet loose. There we go. It's free. Not sure if that was the hard part or the easy part yet. Who knows? I guess definitely wasn't the easiest part. Let's get this thing out of here. Now you definitely could have done that without the transmission jack. You could have used a regular floor jack, or if you had a friend or buddy. I don't have that. Well, I do. Just kidding, everybody. But it is doable by yourself if you didn't have one, didn't have a jack or something. So, yeah, it's hot. Now we kind of got an unwritten rule in the shop. If we're doing any type of exhaust work, and you got the headers open, you got to start it up. Not bad. I'll set the camera down, I'll rev it up a little bit. Hopefully I don't throw any codes. I don't know. Alright, so I'm gonna cool off for a minute and try to get some of this sweat dried off so I don't look so bad on camera. Let's check out and see what this muffler looks like against the pipe that we're going to replace it with. Well, there's the comparison. This dude is pretty good size. I'm not going to go in and get my bathroom scale to scale it, but quite a bit going on with it. It looks like they had this casing is made for dual inlet and dual outlet, but I don't care. This is going in the scrap, or I might save it in case we resell the truck and they don't like it. I don't know. Now I'm going to clean up where I cut off the pipe underneath there, and then we'll take this and fit it up in there and get it bolted in. Let's just fit this thing up. I'm not gonna worry about the rubber grommets just yet. Oh yeah, we got plenty of room for everything. All sorts of room for activity. Okay. Yeah, maybe on this side I'll go ahead and get it in the rubber. Vario. Let's see. Let me get bolts in there. Boom. All right. Looks like everything else is pretty self-explanatory. Yeah, it's just gonna be a matter of getting the grommets back in the holders, and which I left this flange loose. That'll make it easier to get those back in on the back side. Now the stems for the hangers are a lot longer on this aftermarket deal, so maybe a little harder to get on there, but I'll figure it out. Not a big deal. But I don't see there's any sense in you watching me fight those. Kind of knows what's going on. But once I get everything done, I'll get these clamps, get everything perfectly situated, get the clamps tightened up, get the flange tightened up first with the gasket and all hardware. And I'm also put a bunch of anti-seize on the bolts on these clamps, and I'll put some anti-seize on the bolts on the flange here. So I'm gonna get this all tightened up and we'll be back. I'll also give you one last peek underneath here after everything's all tightened up and where it should be. It went in great. This was actually really easy install. The worst part about it was those rubber hangers. The rear ones, you can see the aftermarket bars stick out way further, so it was harder to get everything lined up, but I got it. Now that bracket that the upper hangers are on, that unbolts from the frame. I could have taken that off and tried to do all that on the bench and just had a couple bolts put in, but you know, maybe put in more work because I'm lazy, whatever sense that makes. Now the other thing is this flange, and there it is, the flange gasket. I didn't use the one that came with the kit. It was I don't know, kind of a fiber one. The factory one's an MLS or multi-layer steel one. It was in good shape, so I'd rather use it. It's less likely to blow out. If I would have had some high temp RTV, some good red stuff, I probably would have put a thin coat on both sides of this gasket and on my slip joints where it goes in, but I may end up taking this back apart to put a muffler in it, so I didn't worry about, you know, doing too much of that. So let's fire this thing up, see what it sounds like now. Back here doesn't sound too bad. You know, it's got that raspy tone to it whenever you rev it up. I'm just hoping it's nice and decently quiet still yet in the cab. All right, here we go. Straight pipe. I mean, you can definitely hear it more, but it's not a bad drone. Guess I could do a repeat thing like I did with the stock exhaust and have the camera up here by my head when I kind of shift it down. It's not too much louder to me. You can hear it more, but it's not annoying. I kind of like it. I was afraid it might be too much. We'll have to see what Mrs. Squarebody says about it. So I know I didn't do it with a stock exhaust, but I'm gonna open up the rear window just to see if we get how loud it is from the rear window being open. It's not, I mean, you can hear it, but it's still not too awful loud. I hope Mrs. Squarebody likes it, because I did. All right, here we go. Well, this go around, I pretty much did the same exact thing, and he actually left a few more black marks. I didn't just light them up, but the traction control was on. I'm not saying to gain a bunch of horsepower or anything like that. It's negligible, you know. Who knows? Who knows? I like to sound better. That's the main thing. Now, I'm real happy with this project. It turned out pretty much like I wanted it to. Hopefully Mrs. Squarebody likes it. We'll know more for sure tomorrow. We're going to take it on a short trip, about an hour, 2-hour round trip. And we'll see how we like it. If we don't like it, I'll have time before we go on a long trip down to Texas to change it up. But overall, I think a guy could get this together and do this project in less than an hour. It took me about an hour and a half total, even with the painted butt rubber bushings for the hangers and messing with the cameras and all that stuff. It only took me about an hour and a half really to complete this job. And a big thumbs up to the guys at Proven Ground that made that kit. It went together flawless. There was no issues with the kit. It worked as it was supposed to. Yeah, good job, guys. And again, link is down in the description box below for that kit if you're interested in it. And while you're down there, hit the subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up. You know, like, share, subscribe, all that kind of good stuff. That helps the channel out. Leave me a comment. What do you think about doing stuff that's not quite square body stuff? But you know, it's part of my lineup, part of my herd, part of my yeah, whatever you want to call it. It's one of my vehicles. And Larry, we love Larry. I think that's all I got. I appreciate y'all watching again. Till next time, y'all keep your square bodies rolling, or whatever else it is you drive, and we'll catch you later.